When I initially started watching Better Call Saul, it was after most of the seasons had already been out, and I was scrolling through TikTok one day and saw something that said, "Better Call Saul is good, but just wait till the later seasons because that's when it actually gets good." To me, this felt like it downplayed the first few seasons of the show until it got to the guns and explosions at the end and made it sound like it was going to be some sort of glorious seasons of TV that I was watching. It made it sound like this glorious spectacle of seasons, and looking back on it, I was definitely looking past the first few seasons and looking to what's to come, but I sorely miss the first few seasons of Better Call Saul so much because of one thing: this man right here. A lot of people have been talking about the finale of Better Call Saul, and I'll do you one better. I loved the finale of Better Call Saul, but I wanted to talk about Chuck McGill and his relationship with Jimmy today. So, let's just get started. Charles Chuck Have some more chicken McGill is easily one of the best characters ever written in Better Call Saul. You see, when they started Better Call Saul, they started out with a few new characters that we hadn't seen before, so this had to mean they had to write a completely new cast of characters, and of course they brought some characters back like Gus, Mike, all these guys, but they had to write 4 new characters: Howard, Kim, Chuck, and Ernesto. And Nacho, I guess, too. Chuck is this grand lawyer of insane amount of talent, professionalism. He's got all of it. He makes Ace Attorney look like the Ronald McDonald of lawyering. He is the man. He is him when it comes to winning a court case. He's this straight-A student type guy who plays by the book and always wins, and extremely professional, and you would think that he would be loved by everyone, and he is. And on the other hand, we have Jimmy. Jimmy has always been kind of the family favorite, and okay, I'll just say it this way. He's got one up on Chuck, and that is just the sheer charisma of this man. I've never seen it in a TV show, just going off a little bit here, I've never seen a TV show where this man's got just an insane ability to just be loved by everybody in one room. Generally. He's got this insane amount of charisma that makes him one of the most likable people that you can see from a face value standpoint. Jimmy's always been this kind of dishonest con man character, even dating back to when he was a kid, stealing money from his dad's own cash register, and this didn't sit well with Chuck, since he's always had this huge upstanding respect for the law, which Jimmy has really never had.
Right? I know you got a million legal loopholes that we can dance through, big bag of tricks, any clever technicalities, huh?
In a way, Chuck always has seen Jimmy as Saul Goodman just before we got to see him turn into Saul Goodman. He's always been this dishonest con man who does whatever it takes to get what he wants. At heart, he is a good guy, which is where we also see the character of Jimmy. But at heart, Chuck has always seen him as Saul Goodman. But, Chuck's kind of fine with that. Even though Jimmy is this sloppy, slippin' Jimmy character who always has to be getting bailed out of jail and is always messing up, Chuck's okay with that because at heart he has this sort of jealousy for Jimmy. Even though Chuck has pretty much everything he could want, Jimmy still has the love of the people, which Chuck doesn't like because Jimmy is dangerous, he's reckless, he's careless, he doesn't think, how is he this popular with people? And this is what kind of sets the deep-seated hatred sort of and jealousy for Jimmy. It's kind of like when you see somebody winning when you're clearly doing more work than them, and you should statistically be beating this person, but you're not, and you don't understand why, and they keep getting ahead and you don't know why because you had to go through all of the tough things, and that's exactly what Chuck is feeling right now because Jimmy gets into the law practice. And Chuck's still okay with this because even though Jimmy's in the same law practice as him, he's still not above him. He'll never be on Chuck's level. This is basically what sparks, Chuck literally tells Howard not to give Jimmy the job, which Jimmy then gets mad at Howard and kind of sends this, misplaced anger and hatred towards Howard throughout the entire series that kind of spirals out of control. When Jimmy gets into the law practice, this is kind of really what sets off Chuck, because this is Jimmy entering his playing field where he is superior, and having Jimmy in the law practice, as he says,
what?
You're not a real lawyer. University of American Samoa, for Christ's sake? An online course? What a joke. And you take these shortcuts and you think suddenly you're my peer?
Jimmy's always been this dishonest sort of con man character who, he's good at heart, and he means well, but he's always been this slippin' Jimmy character. So why does it make sense that he gets to be a lawyer? And through most of the series, Chuck pretty much goes out of his way to disprove Jimmy and that he's never going to be a real lawyer, and goes out of his way as this antagonist character to go against his brother, to purposely work against him. What really sucks about these characters and this relationship, and not that sucks about it's trash, it sucks for the characters, I mean, but it's that at heart Jimmy has always looked up to Chuck and always revered his great nobleness and his perfectness for the law and everything like this. So it's kind of devastating to Jimmy when he hears that Chuck doesn't actually want him to be a lawyer and that he doesn't care about him or his law practice.
Because I wanted to tell you
That you have regrets. And I'm telling you, don't bother. What's the point? You're just gonna keep hurting people. But the truth is, you've never mattered all that much to me.
Chuck's always been the person that he's looked up to as his brother and as a successful lawyer, and now Chuck wants to do everything he can to undermine Jimmy's practicing as a lawyer because he sees him as a threat to the law, which is what Chuck really loves. Now, what's funny about all this is that Jimmy has always given his brother the benefit of the doubt when it comes to his electromagnetic sickness or whatever he has, where he has to take all the electronics out of the room. Jimmy has never known if this is a real thing. He's always just loved his brother and given him the benefit of the doubt. But Chuck can't do that for Jimmy. I think that's really ironic that Chuck has this upstanding sense for the law and everything, but he can't see eye to eye with his brother, even when his brother does so many things for him. And this kind of comes into play with the climax of these two characters in the episode Chicanery, which is the midpoint of season 3 and the midpoint of the entire show of Better Call Saul, and in my opinion, probably the best episode that's ever been in this show. So we're here at Jimmy's disbarment hearing, and this is where he's basically Jimmy versus Chuck. Chuck's on the stand and Jimmy's questioning him and proves that his electromagnetic sickness or whatever is fake. It's all in his head with the stunt that he pulls in court by hiding a battery inside of his coat pocket. This could just be my lack of analysis and, knowledge of TV shows and understanding what's going on the screen. But the first time I watched it, I was pretty certain, okay, so Chuck's thing is fake. But to me, that would seem insanely crazy to be faking the entire show. And I get that he's, at heart kind of crazy and maybe in the mind.
I am not crazy!
I wasn't sure if Chuck was actually sick and crazy, or if this was just Jimmy trying to set Chuck off in a way that he would go ballistic on him in court and prove that he actually is kind of crazy towards him and has this hatred towards him that he said that he didn't have. Chuck has just lost in the courtroom against Jimmy, the person he's always looked down on. So after the episode of Chicanery, Chuck pretty much goes completely crazy and in the end eventually, takes his own life at the very end of season 3. Jimmy never really faces this fact for a long time and takes his anger out on multiple different people, including Howard Hamlin throughout the series, which, spirals into a completely new thing in season 6, but we won't go into that for now. The dynamic and relationship between Chuck and Jimmy, I think, is just at an all-time best in terms of writing. And they display this through so many ways with these special scenes, like some of my favorites, like when they're singing at the karaoke in the episode Winner at the end of season 4, or perhaps the final season flashback we get in the last episode of Chuck and Jimmy near the times of season 1. There's so many great moments in this show with Chuck and Jimmy, and I think their entire back and forth through the majority of the first 3 seasons is something that the last seasons just didn't have. I understand it would have been kind of difficult for them to have that because they were focused on other plot lines and stuff, which makes total sense. I'm just saying, I think the first 3 seasons of Better Call Saul get extremely downplayed because there's not enough cartel business and Saul in them. It's focused on Jimmy / new characters who are also extremely good, like my boy Ernesto. Better Call Saul has a pretty insane ability to make you care about characters even if they are kind of in the wrong. For example, Chuck has always seen Jimmy for who he is, pretty much correctly guessing all of Jimmy's next moves because he knows his brother. And sadly, he's completely right about Jimmy. He's never going to change, and he never does change until about the final episode of the show. Another topic for another day. So yeah, after a quick revisit of the first 3 seasons of Better Call Saul, I can confidently say that Chuck's my second favorite character. At the same time, though, I also kind of hate him. Whatever. Also, I know the video's over, but this is probably one of my favorite videos I've seen.
Have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried. Hey, kid named Finger, congratulations on passing the Ohio State bar.
Alright, well, thanks everyone. I'll see you guys later.
Have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
Have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled.